We all know that our employees are our most valuable asset. And as a small business, and particularly as a startup, you need to be seriously intentional about who you're going to hire, because these early hires and who you're going to hire over the next few years is going to shape your organization. So if you're a founder or co-founder and you're ready to start hiring your third, fourth, fifth, or sixth employee, then this video is for you. I talk about how to create a talent strategy, something that is grossly overlooked in the startup world, in order to really achieve your business goals and get to market as quickly as possible. I've been helping CEOs over the last 20 years achieve their business objectives by leveraging their people. In this video, I'm going to talk about what a talent strategy is, why you as a startup CEO or founder need to have a talent strategy before you make a single hire, and how to actually draft that talent strategy. What are some things that you need to consider as you're creating one? So stay tuned. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sadaf Sheikh, and every Tuesday I talk about building and nurturing your high-performing team. And today's spotlight is going to be on startups. Now, we know that every business needs employees to succeed, and without a talent strategy, that becomes difficult because you're being reactive as opposed to being strategic and proactive. So what exactly is a talent strategy? Essentially, a talent strategy is a roadmap that helps you define how you want to acquire, retain, engage, and really leverage your people to meet your business objectives. So among other things, it will include your hiring plan. It will include how to treat your employees. What is the culture that you're trying to create? Based on that, how are you going to compensate your people? How are you going to manage performance? What types of KPIs and metrics are you going to use to manage that performance? How will you know that you've developed, whether you're going to develop your own talent or whether you're going to rely on the external market to get talent inside of your organization that are already trained up? How will you develop your leaders? So what is going to be your succession plan, not just for yourself, but also the other key people, critical roles in your organization? Now, I'm not going to cover every single one of those things in this video, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what the possibilities are. Now, a talent strategy is effectively something that flows from your business strategy. So once you have your business strategy nailed, like how are you going to operate your business, based on that, you can then create your talent strategy. Now, before I get into exactly how to start creating your talent strategy, let me talk a little bit about why specifically startups need to have a talent strategy. Over the last several years, I've spoken to a number of startup founders, and the number one mistake that I hear people talk about is the fact that they hired without really having a plan. They hired based on intuition and without any kind of data. They just, went out, thought about what they wanted, and then they hired those people. The problem with this approach is that you open yourself up to make hiring mistakes, and it takes longer when you don't have a strategic plan or a talent plan for who you're going to hire and when and how you're going to onboard them and all of that stuff. It takes longer for your new hire to actually start to deliver results. So even through those first tumultuous years, you still know where you want to be. You still have a plan. You know at what point you want to get to market. You know how much you want to raise for funding. You have all of these goals in mind. The issue is if you don't approach your hiring your people and your team around you to help you achieve those goals in the fastest possible way, it will hinder and hamper your timelines. Of course, eventually everyone gets there, but there's a way to do it in a streamlined, strategic manner, as opposed to cobbling it together and learning as you go. Plus, one of the key components of a talent strategy is to define what your culture actually is. I do have a video on how to define your aspirational culture, and I'm going to link to it up here. And so definitely check it out. But essentially, you want to know how you're going to be doing the work on your team. You need to have a vision for that too. It's not enough to just know from a business standpoint where you want to go. You also need to know how you're going to get there. And that it comes from defining your culture. And when you have your culture defined, it actually helps a whole lot because you know who you want to hire, what competencies they need to have, and exactly how they approach work. And if that matches with how you envision work being done in your organization, then it's a fit. The problem is, without having that aspirational culture defined, you're shooting in the dark. Is this making sense? If it is, just comment below and let me know that this makes sense, or if you have any questions around why a startup does need to spend the time and effort and energy on a talent strategy. Okay, so now to get to the meat and potatoes of this video, how to actually develop your talent strategy. Now, as a startup, you don't need this big elaborate talent strategy. You don't need to go through all of the things that I mentioned. Those are things that you do need to keep in mind as time goes on. But for starters, at the very minimum, you need to have a hiring plan. So a talent strategy with a succession plan and performance management and leadership development, all of that is completely useless if you don't have the right people to start with. So when we start with a hiring plan, we ensure that you have steps put in place to know that you're hiring the right people at the right time, and you're not going to make any hiring mistakes right in those early stages of your business. Okay, so first and foremost, start with what are your 3 business objectives or strategic priorities. Over the next 12 or 24 months, let's even push it out to 36 months, where do you see yourself? What is your vision? Where do you want, at the end of the 36 months, where do you need to be? And I want you to think about that vision as you start to define who you need to hire. What skills do you need to help you achieve those goals? So start with the 12 months, then the 24, then the 36, and really document every single thing that you need on your team. So in the perfect world, what are the skills that you would have on your team? Now, once you've defined the skills that you would have on your team, it's time to look inward and document what skills you actually have existing in the organization. So that could be you, for starters, or it could be you and a co-founder or 2 co-founders or whatever the case is. But document all of the skills that you actually do possess in your organization today. You have what skills you need and you have what skills you have. Now it's time to look at where the gaps are. So you know what you need, you know what you have, look at the gaps. Look, once you have all of the gaps identified of those skills and competencies that you need or experience that you need, there are a few different ways of approaching this. Now, your talent strategy dictates exactly how you're going to approach that skills gap. Are you going to, instead of hiring on full-time employees, are you going to rely on board members, for example, to help you through some of the stuff, because it's more of an advisory type of skill or competency that you need on your team as opposed to a full-time person. A classic example of this would be HR. A startup doesn't need a full-time HR person. They do need some kind of consultant or advisor that they can turn to when they have questions. So it's not a full-time role. That is something that you need to keep in mind. The other thing is business development or sales or marketing. Do you need to have all of these in-house? Now, if you determine that you do, now it's time to figure out, okay, so how do we group all of those skills that you need in-house versus the skills that you're okay with outsourcing and having perhaps contractors or consultants on staff or advisors from a board that you can pick from. Deciding early on how you're going to address those skill gaps is actually good too, because when you are going out to seek funding, those questions are things that are going to come up during the funding process. And when you have a plan and you have strategically laid out how you're going to address some of these skills gaps, that will make your case that much stronger. And that's it. So once you have defined exactly how you want to approach the hiring process, now it's time to go out and hire. One of the cool things about being a startup is that you're attracting very specific talent that is okay and that actually wants to be part of something that's exciting and growing. You have a very specific, let's say, target audience for your potential employees, and that is actually good because you have a smaller pool to pick from, yes, but you also have very specific skill sets that can be addressed in that manner. Now, if you're ready to actually start the hiring process, but you're stuck and you don't know where, you might want to consider joining our High Performance Culture Academy. In it, I go through an entire process where I walk you through exactly how to set up your strategic plan, your business objectives, your HR and talent strategy, and then once you have your hiring plan in place, how to actually go about hiring those people, by creating an employee value proposition, which is essentially your marketing collateral, what types of questions and interview process you're going to have, how to select the best candidate from the people that you attract into your world once they've applied, how to onboard them effectively. It is a complete transformation of how you will think about dealing with people in your business. The link to apply for the program is below. Set up a call, let's talk and see if this might be the right fit for you at this time. I will add one bonus tip here. Once you have hired the person that you want to hire, whether that's an external person, a board member, or an advisor, or consultant, or whatever, a full-time employee, make sure that you and that person are crystal clear on what the objectives are for that role. Give them specific KPIs and metrics that they need to meet. This is not only helpful for them to ensure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but also for you so that you can keep track of where you are on that 12, 24, 36 month plan that you created. I hope you found this video helpful and that you will truly take a stab at trying to create your talent strategy. As I said, if you have any questions at all, the link to book a call with me is below if you want some help creating this talent strategy. Otherwise, if you did like this video, please hit the like button and make sure you subscribe because I put out a video like this every week on Tuesdays. And make sure, of course, that you hit the bell icon as well to be notified every time I post a new video. In the meantime, take a look at these two videos that I created that will help you with respect to your culture and talent strategy. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye.